Look, I'm only telling you this because I have to. Because if you ever feel that little pull, that little voice that says, I can help them, no one else understands them, you need to shut it down. You need to walk away. Don't be like me. My name is Dr. Sylvie Renaud. I was a therapist. My whole life, my entire education was built around one simple idea, that a safe, nurturing space can heal anything. I really, truly believe that. It's embarrassing, really. 6 months ago, I was fresh out of my PhD program, armed with a whole lot of debt and this burning need to fix people. I'd just been gently reassigned from my last job in grief counseling. My supervisor told me I was suffering from empathic overinvestment. I was too in it, too emotional. I cried with the client instead of just nodding. Isn't that the point? How can you help someone if you don't feel it? They told me they were giving me a less taxing caseload. Troubled teens. I was honestly excited. I know. But my PhD program, God, it was so cold. Just clinical, critical, and completely unsupportive. My advisor, a brilliant, cold man, told me my thesis on trauma recovery was sentimental. He wanted me to analyze, not feel. I was desperate to be the kind of therapist I never had. Someone who actually listens. Someone who doesn't just nod and write on a prescription pad. I was going to prove that my empathy wasn't a weakness. I was going to prove it was the cure. My biggest fear, the one that kept me up at night, it wasn't just failing. It was that my genuine, bleeding heart need to help someone could backfire. That I could listen and care and try so hard, and in the end, just make everything a million times worse. That my empathy wouldn't just be useless, it could be twisted into a weapon. That my old advisor was right all along, and I was just a naive, sentimental fool. And then they gave me his file. A 17-year-old boy. The notes were thin, but what was there was chilling. Resistant to all intervention. Prone to disturbances. Escalating dark ideation. Every other therapist had given up on him. The system had written him off as a lost cause. I looked at that file and I didn't feel scared. I felt a calling. This was it. This was the test. This was the deeply broken kid I was meant to save. He wasn't a lost cause. He was just misunderstood. I was going to be the one. I was going to build a bridge into whatever dark place he was in, and I was going to pull him out. I thought I was opening a door for him. I didn't realize I was just opening a door for it.
The first session was quiet. He was pale, just like the file said. Gaunt, with dark circles under his eyes that looked more like bruises. He wouldn't look at me, just stared at a spot on the carpet right between my feet. I did my whole "this is a safe space" speech, told him he could say anything at all, that nothing he said would shock me, that I wasn't there to judge. He was silent for maybe 20 minutes. I just sat with him. I'm good at sitting in silence. But this was different. The silence felt heavy, pressurized, like the air before a lightning strike. And then he just started talking. Not to me, but to that spot on the floor. He said he was having visions. He was very clear they weren't memories. He said he saw the man made of rust. He said the man scratched at the inside of his walls at night. He started describing things, grotesque things, violent, twisted visions of rituals and hunger, things a 17-year-old kid shouldn't even be able to imagine. My trauma-dar was pinging like crazy. This was it. Repressed memories, complex metaphors. This is what I was trained for. This rust man was a symbol, probably for an abuser. The hunger was a desire for control. I was scribbling notes, totally focused. I was building the bridge. But as he was talking, the room got cold. I'm not talking, oh, the AC just kicked on cold. I'm talking still cold, like the air itself had just died. I remember my knuckles going white on my pen. I could see my breath. And I smelled something, faint but sharp, like old, wet pennies, a coppery smell. When the hour was up, he just stopped, mid-sentence, stood up, and walked out. The second the door clicked shut, the cold just evaporated. The room felt normal again. I was left there shaking a little, with the legal pad full of absolute horror. But I wasn't scared. I was convinced. This kid was in deep, deep trouble, and I was the only one who saw it. The sessions continued. The visions he described got worse. The cold in the room got colder. The coppery smell got so strong that one day I actually checked the vents for a dead animal. I was documenting everything, obsessively. My supervisors were not happy. "You're getting too close, Sylvie. Maintain professional boundaries. These are just dark fantasies. You're encouraging him." I ignored them. How could I not? This boy's life was on the line. I could feel it. They were being cold, just like my advisor. They didn't understand. I did. The first real scare, the one that made me question me, it wasn't even in a session. I was working late, transcribing my audio notes from that day. My office was the only one on the floor. It was maybe 9 at night, totally quiet, just a click-clack of my keyboard. I'm listening to the recording on my headphones just to make sure I got the wording right. His voice is on the recorder, that same flat monotone. And the rust man whispers. He whispers about the salt. And then on the recording, I heard another voice. It wasn't me. It wasn't him. It was this low, guttural chanting. It was so quiet, I almost missed it, hiding right under his words. A rhythmic, throaty sound, like someone trying to speak while gargling water. I ripped my headphones off. My heart was trying to climb out of my throat. The office was dead silent. Just me and the hum of my laptop. I told myself I was tired. Auditory hallucination. I was too invested, just like they said. My empathic overinvestment was making me hear things. I was projecting. I was failing. I played the file again, this time through the laptop speakers. His voice whispers about the salt. Nothing. Just his voice. Just silence underneath. I must have played it 20 times. It was gone.
I packed up and practically ran out of that building, but I couldn't shake it. That was the first time I thought, not this is trauma, but what if this is real? I tried to pull back. I really did. For 2 days, I focused on my other clients. I went to yoga. I tried to maintain boundaries. I tried to be the cold, clinical therapist they wanted me to be. Then I got a call. His mother. Oh, his mother. I'd only met her once at the intake. She was beautiful, charismatic, all smiles and expensive-looking teeth. She charmed my entire department. But something about her, she was as cold as that therapy room. When I shook her hand, it was like touching a marble statue. She calls me, and her voice is full of panic. She's had a terrible night, doctor. A complete breakdown. He's asking for you. I know it's irregular, but he won't talk to anyone else. He keeps asking for Dr. Sylvie. My heart it broke. A breakdown. But he was asking for me. This was it. This was the breakthrough. He was trusting me. All my work, all my empathy, it was working. My supervisor would have my head. This was so far off the books, it wasn't even in the library. An unscheduled, off-the-books home visit? Career suicide. But I thought about him, alone in that house, seeing the rust man. I thought, his life is in imminent physical and mental danger. This wasn't a boundary violation. This was a rescue. I grabbed my keys. I'm on my way. I pulled up to their house. It was perfect. One of those big, dark windowed homes in the old part of town. Perfect lawn. Dead quiet. The kind of quiet that feels heavy. His mother opened the door before I even knocked. She was wearing a silk robe. She just smiled. He's in his room. He's so glad you came. The house was silent and cold. That seemed dead, still cold from the office. She pointed up the stairs. Just up there. He's waiting. I walked up. The coppery smell was so strong I almost gagged. It was coming from his room. I got to his door. It was open, just a crack. "Hey," I whispered. "It's me. It's Dr. Sylvie. Can I come in?" I pushed the door open. The room was dark, but it wasn't empty. He was there, the boy. He was sitting on the floor, but not sitting. He was contorted, like his joints were all wrong, bent the wrong way. He wasn't alone. There were shadows in the corners of the room, and they weren't just shadows. They were lumpy, and they were moving. He turned his head to look at me. The sound was like old wood snapping, and his eyes, I'm telling you, his eyes, it weren't his eyes. They were just black. 2 pits of wet, shiny black. He smiled, and it wasn't his smile. I heard the click of the front door locking downstairs, and then I heard his mother. From the bottom of the stairs, her voice not charming at all. It was flat and hard and hungry. "Thank you for coming, doctor. The vessel is prepared, but Morthos is so very particular about his meals." I froze. Just froze. My entire education, all my training, it just evaporated. The only thing in my head was run. I tried to back out of the room. The shadows, the lumpy ones, They uncurled. They were people in masks, hooded robes. They'd been in the room with him this whole time. I turned and scrambled for the stairs. She was standing at the bottom, that same cold, beautiful smell on her face. "Now, doctor," she said like she was scolding the child, "we can't have you leaving. You're the guest of honor." "What's wrong with him?" I yelled. My voice sounded thin, pathetic. "He's sick. He needs help." She laughed. A real, actual laugh. "Oh, he was sick. Then he was almost ready. And then you came." What are you talking about?" "Your sessions." She said the word like it was something filthy. "Your little safe space. Murthos demands a vessel of perfect darkness. We were so close, but your empathy, your healing, it was purifying him, spoiling the offering." Murthos was displeased. And that's when my blood just stopped. It wasn't a metaphor. It wasn't trauma. It was real. In my therapy, my empathy, it had worked. And it had backfired. "He's angry," she said, her smile dropping. "But he's also grateful. You've given him a much better gift." "Me?" "Of course. An idealistic healer, a pure, nurturing soul, so desperate to help." She stepped aside. The hallway to the front door was dark. "He finds you delicious." I didn't think. I just ran. I pushed past her and sprinted for the front door. I fumbled with the deadbolt. It wouldn't turn. Then wham, the hall closet door flew open. Another masked figure grabbed me. I screamed and threw myself backwards, breaking free. I ran for the kitchen. There has to be a back door. The lights went out. The whole house plunged into that bone-deep, unnatural cold. I could hear them chanting that same guttural, rhythmic sound from the recorder. It wasn't just them. It was coming from the walls. I found the kitchen. I saw the door. I ran for it. And just as my hand touched the knob, the door slammed shut. Not like a person slammed it. It slammed with a sound like a thunderclap, like the house itself had closed its fist. I turned. They were all there. The mother, the boy skittering on the floor on all fours, his limbs still all wrong. The hooded figures, their hands empty, just waiting. My empathy, I whispered against the counter. It was a weapon. The mother smiled. It was an invitation. They grabbed me. I fought. I really did. I kicked, I bit, I screamed. It didn't matter. They were so strong. They dragged me, scraping my knee on the hardwood floor, past the stairs to a door I hadn't seen, a door to the basement. The smell. God, the smell. It was incense and that coppery wet penny smell, but 1,000 times stronger. It was the smell of a slaughterhouse. They dragged me down into the dark. When I woke up, I wasn't in the kitchen. I was lying on something hard and cold. Stone. I was in the basement. It was a temple. Candles everywhere, casting long, sick, moving shadows. The chanting was loud now. echoing off the stone walls. I was on an altar, a flat black stone altar, and I was tied down. Leather straps tight around my wrists, my ankles. The boy was in the corner, quiet, just watching me with those black eyes. The mother was standing over me. She wasn't in her silk robe anymore. She was wearing something ceremonial, black and red. She had a knife, an old, wavy-looking thing. "Don't you see, Sylvie?" she whispered, her face close to mine. I could smell the incense on her breath. "It's perfect. Your entire life you were desperate to validate your path, to prove you could heal. And you did." I tried to speak, but my throat was so dry. "You proved your empathy is real," she cooed. "It's so real. It called to us. It's so real. It's gonna save us all." I saw it then. My whole life. That cold PhD program, my unsupportive supervisors, my desperate, aching need to prove I was right. That caring wasn't a weakness. That empathy could save a broken boy. And it was all true. My empathy was a weapon. My desire to help was twisted. It wasn't my weapon. It was theirs. The chanting got louder. The air got so cold it burned. And the shadows in the corners of the room, they started to grow, to merge. A vast, suffocating thing was unfurling above me. It had no shape, just pressure and cold, and that terrible, terrible smell. This was Morthos, and he was hungry. This is it. This is the horrifying, irreversible consequence. My professional incompetence was that I was a bad therapist. It was that I was a good one. This is what I wanted to tell you. This is why you can't ever be like me. I just wanted to help. So when you see that darkness, when you hear that little voice, please, for God's sake, mind your own business.
The horrors linger. Thank you so much for watching or listening. By liking and subscribing, you're helping me summon the next chilling tale from the shadows. Join our community of the brave and prepare for what's to come.